Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 210 of my journey to becoming the person that I want to be and a psychologist. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I realized that I genuinely have an issue with, and it's not really good, and it's not a good characteristic. It really does make me look like an asshole, and it is something that I like. What is? Sorry, my cat. The cat is laying on me, and he was chewing on something. Anyways, it is something that I was focusing on before when I started working on myself the most, because that is something that really pushed me to have a totally different perspective on other people. And the more that the time passed, since then, I have kind of gone astray from that kind of mentality. And I think I have an understanding of why that even happened. And as I said, it is a pretty bad characteristic. I started judging people a lot, and I started understanding them less, and I didn't even try to understand them as much as I did before. And I feel like one of the reasons as to why is because a lot of issues that happen in your life, usually if you work hard enough and you get to a type of mentality, depending on what you're trying to improve on. For example, I try to improve on my relations with other people, and how I'm going to act and how I'm going to perceive what they're saying and what they're doing. I don't look down upon people that are close to me and decide to do something which isn't right from my perspective. I just try to understand them as much as I can, even though it does make me annoyed. And I mean, it's a normal thing to get annoyed by those things, but I feel like, for example, I went to uni, but then I stopped going, and I started recording on like the 10th of January or something like that, or the 5th, for this YouTube channel. And I was already in uni during that time. I already started going, and I have realized this one thing. I had this class, and I might have talked about it before. It's an optional class. You can choose if you want to go to that one or to different ones that are optional. I chose that one because it was interesting. It is, how do I say it in English? Like, basically, I don't really know how to say it, how to translate it well, but I'm just gonna explain what we do. We sit in a circle, and it's basically like a group therapy, but we don't go to that extent of like getting that close and personal with somebody else. With some people, and in some other classes, maybe if it's the same subject but a different group, they might do something different that makes them get into like more personal stuff. However, my group wasn't really that personal. However, I did see some people talking about their issues, and I've realized that, a lot of people, which is totally normal, a lot of people do not pay that much attention to what they do and what is right and what is wrong. um I'm not saying that everybody is dumb. I'm just saying that in general, people don't care to do the right thing if it is not an important, if it is not toward an important person, if it is not something that's really important to them. Which, to be honest, doing the right thing and being a better person does does like, it makes you need to have a lot of forgiveness, a lot of patience, and a lot of time, and a lot of self-control, which is honestly very difficult to obtain. I, to some extent, did. I, of course, cannot, be peaceful all the time. There are points where I also crash out, but that has decreased significantly since I started working on myself, because, well, of something that happened to me, which I saw was something that was like tragic and like kind of destroyed my whole identity and personality. So I was kind of building myself up over again, but this time it wasn't from what I've learned as a child, but from what I'm learning now, which is, I think, a much better thing to do. Anyways, because of that, I've been more patient since then. I've been more understanding when it comes to arguments. However, now that the more that the time passes, the more that I'm getting like, you know, self-aware and aware of everything that is happening around the world and who sees what as what of importance and who sees something of less importance, but it's actually more important. For example, I've realized that a lot of people do not take the idea of working on themselves as something that is very important. You know, there is a lot of people who are also egoistic and base their personality and the strength of their character on the amount of money or the items that they have. For example, somebody will work as hard as they can and financially be more than stable, be rich or whatever, get a Rolex, a fast car, a very good house, and you know, that's all great, but when somebody focuses on that too much and only on that, their personality is not being built on, and their identity is just latched onto money, onto finance, onto working, and that whole thing is their identity. It is their obsession, therefore they're really good at it, therefore that's something that's like basically 80% of who they are. And I feel like, at least from my perspective, people should really mostly focus on themselves, and everything else that comes with in their life. I'm talking about money and I don't know, all of the other stuff. I can't really come up with different shit, but I feel like the most important thing for every single person should be to work on themselves and to know how to behave like a good person and to experience maturity in a good way, to understand peace and to understand what other emotions do to other people and to yourself, what you should hold on and what you shouldn't, how, and you shouldn't really keep, as I talked about this in the last video, but the circle of hatred and all of that, holding grudges, wanting revenge, whatever. It is something that really does eat you inside out. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting a bit distracted. People are not working on themselves that much, and to be honest, I was going with people who are born in 2006. They're 3 years younger than me. They are turning 20 this year, and you know, when I was 20, I was doing fuck all. I was honestly a very awful person. That was literally the worst time. That was the worst moment in my life, as in the situation and who I was, how I portrayed myself, how I behaved as a person. That was literally the worst point in my life. And I feel like now, like when we were in that class where it was like a group therapy, a lot of people were talking about some issues that were really, in my opinion and how I perceive it, very easy to fix. You know, there were some simple conversations. There were some that were honestly like, how did this even become an argument, and why are you still in the argument, and why are you even doing that in the argument? You know, it irritates me kind of, and I try to understand why, and it might be because, well, I see those things as something that is a very dumb decision, very dumb things that are happening in their life that can easily be solved, or I see it as something like, oh, I was doing that before in my life, so subconsciously I'm trying to run away from my past and I'm trying to run away from the person that I was, so I hate that person that I was, you know? And because of that, because of what they're doing, it associates their action with what I was doing before. So it associates that with a negative emotion, which is why I get that reaction. It is a stretch, but at the same time, it is realistic. It's subconscious. It's really subconscious. And yeah, I feel like that is one of the reasons why some of those things happen. And I've been judging a lot of people for mostly in these last couple of months. Like, I don't understand what they're doing. Some people I do get annoyed with because they're not doing one mistake, they're constantly doing mistakes over years. But usually I get rid of those people. They're get rid of I'm It sounds like I'm gonna kill them. But I don't, you know what I mean. I'm not hanging out with them in my life. I don't want to see them, and if I don't see them, I don't see them. That's it. I don't care what they're doing. If they're gonna be a good person in 2 years time, that's good for them. But in my opinion, I don't think that I should be hanging out with those people. But I'm not forgiving that much in that kind of sense where somebody does make a mistake even though they're still young. People that are still my age make a lot of mistakes, and their personality and their maturity can be higher or much lower than mine. So I can't really judge it, because I've talked about this before, but I said everybody has their own race. Everybody runs in their own race. You're not racing against anybody else. You cannot compare yourself to other people. Oh yeah, well, this guy at 20 years old became a millionaire, and I still am starting to go to work just now. I'm barely having any money, and I'm doing fuck all in my life. But he's the one who's living in Dubai and has a lot of money and whatever. I cannot compare myself to them. They cannot compare themselves to me. We have a totally different life, a totally different perspective on things. I'm going to figure out some things later. He's going to figure out some things later that I already figured out. So, yeah. Basically, I think that what I'm supposed to be working on the most is just trying to be more calm and more understanding of other people, especially somebody who's younger than me. And even if there's somebody who's older than me, the best thing you can give them is advice. If they don't want to hear it, that's fine. Just not give them negativity, because I feel like negativity is something that will never fix any kind of situation, except maybe if like one of your best friends decides to just shit on you because you're doing a terrible thing. It's a weird way of letting someone know that they're doing something bad, but at the same time it kind of does make sense, because it kind of wakes them up. But again, it also depends on how the person is going to react. But generally speaking, people should be more, peaceful, and I should be more understanding for other people's decisions and for what they do. That's one of the reasons why, I've watched the TV show Mindhunter, and I'm so sad it didn't continue because it was really good. But the TV show is basically about FBI agents starting a psychology unit in the FBI, which is based on just the FBI trying to find out and understand, what are they called? Just psychos, what are they? I forgot their name. Basically psychos. I don't know the other name. I don't know how I forgot it. Yeah, just people psychopath. Jesus Christ. They try to understand them by having a conversation with them and seeing how their brain works, like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, well, Epstein if he was there, but they try to understand it and they try to connect it so that in the future they try to prevent it, And before that, it was just, oh, well, they're just psychopaths, they're not normal people, and you will not be able to understand them. But the FBI, at least, the psychology side of the FBI, they found out many things about those type of people, which they actually could have prevented when they were kids, or they could have done something differently. That's why they started doing it. And I feel like what I'm doing right now is I'm telling myself, when I'm at that point, I'm like, well, there's no reason to understand them. They're just dumb. They're not dumb. They just have a different perspective. Because honestly, I forgot my own perspective how it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember how it was, but honestly, I don't think I even thought about my own perspective that much until the bad stuff started happening and I started working on myself. But yeah, overall, I feel like I should, you know, start working on that too, and like pay attention to what other people are doing and not be as judgmental as I am right now. So yeah, I admit that I am judgmental, and some people might see me as stubborn because some of the things that happen already, that like when I'm in a situation and I already know, like I've already gone through a similar type of situation, or I went through it already in my mind, what was right and what was wrong, I strongly stand behind it until I'm proven wrong. And then because of that, because I have a strong belief in something, I can sound stubborn, but I'm actually not. I just strongly believe in what I'm saying, and I'm not saying that I couldn't be wrong. I could be wrong, but until I'm proven that I'm not, I'm going to I'm going to stand behind my points of what I'm saying. So yeah, I don't think I'm stubborn. I just think that I'm judgmental, and I think I should change that. Especially if I want to become a psychologist. Like, imagine somebody comes to me with some kind of a problem, and I'm like, "You're an idiot, bro. What the fuck? You know, I actually solved that shit when I was 18 years old, and you can't even solve it, and you're 25. What are you doing with your life?" You know, I can't do that. I really cannot. Anyways, yeah, that was it for me today. I'm glad I made the video in less than a week. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to cleaning up my room, calling some people, doing some business shit, and I might actually start working very soon. Next week, I'm starting my training in a company, and if I do get in the job, I will let y'all know how it is and what it is about. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, whoever did. Thank you for 22 subscribers. Let's get up to 30, eh? Maybe. Anyways, love you all. Spread peace and positivity, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.